So there's been some more allegations thrown at ImAllexx. Recently, for those that don't know, ImAllexx has come under fire from his ex Alice for abuse. She released a whole document with video clips basically outing him for all this abuse, and a lot of the stuff was very, very nasty and disgusting. The way ImAllexx acted in them videos is absolutely fucking disgusting.
It seems like this is all just me, and that's something you really need to fucking fix.
I'm gonna fucking bash your fucking head against the wall with a brick if you don't shut the fuck up.
But today, even more stuff has come out to make ImAllexx look even worse. Let's start with a person named Annie. This is another person to come forward about being abused by ImAllexx, and they have also released their own statement, which I'll read here. My experience with ImAllexx. Though we never confirmed it to the public, because I personally like keeping my relationships private, I dated Alex from June 2017 till March 2018. It was the most toxic relationship I'd ever been in, and I was lucky to get out when I did. When we were dating, though he was from England and I lived in America, we were pretty much never apart from each other for longer than a week. We stayed in Europe for a couple of months, then went to America for 6 months. He couldn't stay 6 months straight due to visa implications, so he stayed for 3 months. Flew back to England for a few days, then came back to America for another 3 months. After this 6 months was over and he couldn't come to America again for a while due to visa requirements, we spent some time away from each other. And during that time, with help of my friends, I came to the realization that I was in the worst and most toxic relationship I had ever been in, and I had to get out. It started out great, as they always do, the honeymoon phase as they call it. But as time went on, things got worse and worse. I was fortunate to get out when I did, but reading all the new information that's come out, he's clearly gotten worse. During the relationship, he made me feel insane, like I wasn't myself anymore. It never felt like he listened to me. I always felt belittled and inferior. Whenever we recorded videos together, he would constantly talk over me and never let me have my moment. Most of the time when I had problems, he always somehow made it about himself or talked about his own issues. He would get stressed over his YouTube channel constantly and complain about uploading, as if it was the hardest job on the planet and no one had it harder than him. His classic line was, "I can't catch a fucking break." If we ever had a disagreement, he would also sometimes allude to the possibility of himself over minor conflicts as a threat. So I couldn't continue with the conversation. It was nearly impossible to give him any kind of criticism because it was like adding to the pile of minor issues that he already had blown far out of proportion in his own head. Another thing he did was spin his own narrative and twist words. He didn't just do this in the relationship, but he did it in his work and with his friends. It was the main reason why many people stopped talking to him, because we started to realize that when there was even the smallest amount of drama and he heard about it, he would make sure to involve himself, even if the subject had absolutely nothing to do with him, and he would just make everything so much worse. For example, the Slazo situation. Though it was never said in the original statements by Shay, he somehow came to the conclusion that it was our word and everyone else got the blame for saying his words. Somehow the situation went from being guilty of being a bad boyfriend to all of a sudden he is a R word. This was the final nail in the coffin, and I cut all contact with him after that. During our relationship, I bought him and Alex and Annie bracelets for Valentine's Day because I was like, oh neat, a company with both our names. You can see him pressing the heart of the bracelet to his lips in his Back to Nothing video, which has since taken down from his channel.
You know, I feel punished for wanting to do more, ever thinking that I could, ever believing in myself, you know.
This video was released as a response to me breaking up with him. He uploaded this video after I stopped talking to him as a way of trying to guilt me into replying to him. He did to me what he has done to his relationship with Alice, where he would fly off the handle and get mad, then act all apologetic and sad to try to get me to feel sorry for him and forgive everything he has said and done. Lastly, the only time he ever laid a finger on me was when he grabbed me as I was trying to run away from a conflict. We were trying to record a YouTube video together and he was getting frustrated at having to restart the recording multiple times. He started shouting and beating his fist on the table, even going as far to break his microphone. I was scared, so I got up to leave the room, which is when he grabbed my arm to physically stop me. I remember saying, "You grabbed my arm," several times in shock, as if to say, who the fuck would even grab someone like that. Once again, I was fortunate that that was the only time something like that had ever happened. I got out before it got even worse, as it clearly has with the new information that's come out. It saddens me that it's all come this far. I wished Alice the best privately, and it breaks my heart to have seen all these things she had gone through. I hope Alice's story and my story show what he was really like behind the scenes. If you're in an abusive relationship, please get out now. You can't fix them. So clearly from what Annie has said, you can kind of see a lot of correlations, you know, between her statement and Alice's statement. There's a lot of things that kind of match up. ImAllexx kind of seems like the sort of guy that isn't very good in relationships. Maybe his anger just gets the best of him, which is no excuse, you know? There's no excuse to be a piece of shit. In the video that she's posted in with this document here, you can see that he's pretty upset, but to me, it kind of seems a bit disingenuous. It's reminded me more like the voice note we got in Alice's one, you know, like he's clearly upset, but he's upset for the wrong reason. Though he's not sad that he's hurt this person, he's sad that it's happening to him. Now, this wasn't the only thing that came out today. A girl named Mia, who used to date Willany, another massive YouTuber, posted this on her Instagram story. This is something I have been aware of since May last year, and it's something that, in my opinion, is well known throughout the industry. I can't speak for people who aren't in our group or people I don't see regularly, but the openness at which this was discussed amongst people last year, I generally find it hard to believe that creators close to Alex had no idea this was going on. When I found out Alex and I were signed to the same talent agency, I immediately made them aware of the accusations and put pressure on them to drop him, which they did. This was June 2023. From the documents in the drive, it looks like things escalated even further from what I was aware of: emotional abuse, threats of violence, use of racial slurs, which is so heartbreaking. I don't know Alice personally, but sending her so much love. So obviously here what she's saying is this was well known throughout the whole group. Now, I'm not going to stand here and say that every single person that made videos with ImAllexx knew about this whole situation, but I'm pretty sure a majority of them knew that something dodgy was going on. So for some people to kind of act surprised about the situation now, it's a bit shitty. You know, this also kind of clears up a lot of stuff where, you know, people were wondering why ImAllexx wasn't doing videos with other creators anymore and it was just him. Because a lot of them have seen all this stuff happen behind the scenes and just didn't want to hang out with him, such as Willany, who said this today. Firstly, I really hope Alice is doing well and commend her massively for having the courage to get out of there. As Mia mentioned, there were rumours of his behaviour earlier last year. Myself and a few others haven't had contact with him since, or been his friends even longer. With that being said, the severity of the abuse that Alice published was far worse than anything I'd heard being discussed. That Google Drive is fucking abhorrent, and what he put her through is inexcusable. So that just kind of confirms that yes, they all did know, and this is also why none of them are hanging out with Alex anymore or as friends with Alex. Now, I know a lot of people are probably going to be wondering why none of these people came forwards earlier about this or spoke up about this. I guess a lot of them just didn't know what was going on, you know? Maybe they didn't want to speak before more information was out. That can happen to a lot of people. Also, it could have made the situation worse. But now it's all coming clear and people are coming out with their stories, Alice's story has got a lot more weight to it. Another creator that was very, very close with ImAllexx is imallexxs, who also posted today on the whole situation. And he had this to say: I'm aware of the Alex situation. I would usually wait until both parties have said their side publicly before speaking about it, but I think the evidence here is overwhelming. I spent this morning reading what Alice had written and going over the evidence she's provided, and no one should have to go through what she has. It's awful and disturbing and has seriously shocked me. I'm still processing what's happened. This is one of the worst situations I've ever seen in my life, and I hope Alice is okay. It took a lot of courage to speak up about this. Now that's from somebody that used to live with ImAllexx. So you can kind of see that a lot of his close friends are now turned their back on him. And that's without Alex's side even coming out. This is how much evidence has actually come out about him. You know, when that starts happening, you know there's a problem. And not only that, a lot of these people had already witnessed a problem before the problem was announced to the world. So that shows it even more. Now, ImAllexx is still yet to comment on the whole situation, so I will be making an update when he eventually does, which he's going to have to do at this point. Now, whether all of this is true or not, which I'm starting to believe that it very much is, his behavior is inexcusable, And personally, I can't watch the guy anymore. That's just my personal opinion there. But yeah, I'm glad Alice and Annie got out of the situation. I'm also glad that his friends have said their piece here and we've got nothing to do with him anymore and stepped away. And hopefully we hear from ImAllexx soon about the situation. Anyways, guys, when we do, I will update you guys. But till then, take it easy and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.